Hey guys, so this is my fighter DPS build that I want to show you guys. I do have a fighter tank build also, but it's going to be for a separate video. So let's get right to it. So for my headpiece, I use a sharp dragon hunter. The reason I use this is because I already have pretty high critical strike for my class feature, which gives me like 10% crit. So that's the reason I use this, but you can also use the other headpiece. You can also use Hood of the Dragon Hunter, which also gives you 10% crit strike. It all depends on your build and what you need more. So for me, I need this headpiece for 10% more critical certainty. As you can see, it's lower than my critical strike. And then one of my favorites for the chest piece, I used Attackful Leathers, which I love this. I love this chest piece. So it gives you crit strike and critical certainty. You get 1.5% of both. It's that max sack of 5, which is pretty awesome. I love it. So this is a must-have for me. And then for my arms, so I use the Superior Crushers, and these actually work really good. So you get power and defense is increased by 5%, which is pretty much all the time. All it takes is for one player to be like a little bit further from you. Boom, you get 5% power and defense all the time, pretty much. These work pretty dang good. So if you need power and defense, these are great, and this is why I use them too. As you can see, my power is 90%, which is the way I want it. So for your main weapons, I use the Lionheart because I like the 7.5% more damage. You can use Mirage, but Lionheart is better for the AoE. So I like using Lionheart. And then for my boots, I use Attackful Boots, which gives you, so as long as your action points are less than 80%, your power is increased by 7%. So as you can see, I got 90% power because of that. So I like these boots a lot. I actually replace these with the Combat Advantage Wasteland boots because I really don't need it. As you can see, I already have 86% Combat Advantage, and I'm also a Gith, which gives me 5% more Combat Advantage, so it works out really well for me. Now, for your build, you might need those boots, the Wasteland boots, 5% more Combat Advantage, so you might need those. It all depends on your build, of course, but this is just for my build. So always gotta keep that in mind. So I use this set, but you can also use the demo set, the new one, because it's also very good too. I don't think there's really a difference in DPS between the two. I don't think there is. I could be wrong. But the demo set's pretty much impossible to get right now unless you want to spend like 10 million, Astro Diamonds, which nobody wants to do. And they ain't worth that much either. So this set's pretty easy to get from the Dragonborn Veil. So you might as well get this set. It works great. And even with the Band of Air getting nerfed, this set still works pretty good. But when the demo comes back, the trial, I will get the demo set because that's what I want to use. And for my rings, I used the Red Eye Glare. Hey, get 5% more power and 2.5 more accuracy. I am going to replace this with this ring, so I will replace it with this ring. So I want your outward powers to do 8% more damage. I will replace it with this one eventually. And then when Band of Air gets nerfed, I am going to replace it with this Soothsayer ring, so I can get 7% more crit strike also. So I will be using these two rings, replacing both those rings because I just don't need more power. I mean, I already got 90% power, so I don't need this ring anymore. And then when this gets nerfed, I'll replace it with a 7% more crit strike, which will benefit me pretty good. I pretty much have all 90% stats. And then my shirt, I'm using the Crodet shirt, which gives me 5% combat advantage. I don't think I will switch the shirt with the orange shirt from the Dragon Hunts. I'm not sure yet. I might though. I think I will though, but I'm not sure yet. I think either or would be good because I don't think my combat advantage. I'm pretty sure I can still get my combat advantage 90% with or without this shirt. And then for my pants, I just kind of use whatever right now because this is what I got. I'm sure there's probably better pieces. Like I got the Dragonflight one, which it's okay, but I just use this for now. I know there's better, but I don't really care about. I'm probably gonna replace this one with the orange shirt from the Dragon Hunts. I probably will replace it with that one. So for my enchantments, I got 1 Jade for a critical strike. The rest are for power, as you can see. Utility, that gives me Forte. I got one for defense, and the rest of these are critical strike. You could also put all defense on all of these right here. You'd be better off putting defense. I just don't have all defense ones. Maybe eventually I will. Maybe. Because I play a tank too, so that's why I have these here. And I think it's a waste for me to buy even more enchantments when I already have all these. And I do use Devil Precision. You don't have to, of course. That's just an extra. And then Rage Flames, which is also extra. Not everyone can afford those. So you don't have to have these. For my combat, I use Poison Thorn. I pretty much use it for everything. And movement speed. I like to have speed. I hate being very slow and being last to kill everything. So movement speed is a big deal for me. Because as you can see, my movement speed is 75.3%, which is pretty fast. So I like that. To me, I think movement speed is very important in dungeons, because if you're too slow, you're not going to be very helpful when everything's being attacked while you're still trying to catch up. And here's my skills. This one's pretty good. I use it mostly for AoE if they're mobs to put together. And I pretty much use heavy slash all the time. It's very hard, and plus increases your damage by 5% when you use it. It's pretty damn hard. Now for my encounters, Anvil of Doom. It's extremely hard. As you can see, 1,260 magnitude when it's enhanced. When you have your vengeance is above 15, which is always going to be above that. So this is very good to use when you have a mob that's like halfway health. Hit them, you're going to one-shot them easily. Especially for bigger mobs too, when they got a lot of health. Boom, you hit them. Takes a lot of health. Then Trumor, pretty good AoE skill. Always used for AoE. And this one's even better. This one hits pretty hard too. Onslaught hits pretty hard in AoE, so I like this skill a lot. And here's my dailies. Earth Striker. You're pretty much always going to be using this for everything when it comes to your daily. That one's your best one we have. We don't ever use that really. We don't need to. This one's pretty good. And here's my class feature. This increases my critical strike by 10%. Very useful, but it does go down when your stamina goes down, so you gotta remember that. But it's very useful. 10% stats, I mean, shoot, that's awesome. And then Enduring Vengeance is pretty important. So every 10 seconds your Vengeance Grudge is above 50%, you gain a stack. So it increases your damage up to a total of 5%, which is pretty good. So you get up to 5%, so you always want to keep your Vengeance full. But if it goes below 50%, you lose all of them. So you want to stack it up to 5 times and keep it up. That's 5% damage right there. And here's my feats. So the Weight of Vengeance. So this grants Ava-Doom the effect of dealing additional 380 magnitude damage, which the skill is already super hard hitting, and that makes it even stronger. It also makes it recover from cooldown full 4 seconds faster, which is pretty awesome. And it does consume 15 vengeance, which is not much at all. That's nothing. And there's no effect if your vengeance grudge is below 15, which is why our vengeance should always be full. Should never be below half. Now this one's pretty useful, so Prepared Slam. So whenever you are under effect of heavy slash, your encounter powers will deal damage to, which is AoE. So it makes it deal an additional 200 magnitude damage. So heavy slash pretty much buffs all of our AoE skills. Which is pretty good. Makes it pretty strong. So that's why you should always be using heavy slash and have that effect on, so you make sure your AoE skills are strong. Rolling Hatred. So whenever you crit strike and your vengeance grudge is at least 50% full, you restore 5 vengeance. So when you do crit strikes, it helps keep your vengeance up. So Striker's Mark. Your daily powers do an additional 400 magnitude damage to targets affected by the Commander Strike. So this is for Commander Strike, which is we only gonna use in single target. But this is the only good feat we really got, because we don't want to really use this one. So this one's kind of useless for us because we're not going to use this in the AOL build. You could use Land Waster, which makes your Earth Striker. So this pretty much lets you use your Earth Striker more than one time. But I don't like how it takes away all your vengeance, which means you lose all your 5% damage. That's why I don't use it. But you can use it though. It's not a bad feat to use. But I just put this one on. Executioner's Gut. So whenever you attack an enemy with less than 30% hit points, deal 50 magnitude additional damage and restore 3 vengeance. So that's pretty good. And here's my boons. I'll just let you guys, you can always pause this to see all this. I'm not going to go through all of it. There's no reason to. There's really nothing to explain any of this. I mean, this is what I use for my guild boons. But you're always going to be using what you need, so it's not going to always look the same when it comes to the guild boons. Now for my companions. So for my AoE, I use Acute Senses, so I can get 7.5% more combat advantage. I use Divine Judgment because it gives me more critical strike, more critical survey. Then Standoff Presence. I use that because it gives me 7.5% combat advantage, which is pretty dang good. And then this is another companion that gives me more critical strike and more critical severity. I use a black dragon for 7.5% more critical chance. And then the golden cat for 7.5% combat advantage. And if you don't have that, you can always use the spider, which gives you critical chance and combat advantage. So you can always use that. Because not everyone has the golden cat. Very expensive. And this is what I use for my companion equipment. Gives me more accuracy and critical severity. All three of them are the same. And then my summon companion, I use the stone, which gives me more critical strike, combat advantage, and power. Now, not everyone has this one, so if you don't have this, you can always use the owl bear. You can always use the tiger. And you can always buy those in the Action House. I can't think of anything else. I think those are the only two good ones. But if you can get your hands on one of these, this one's really good. I pretty much use it on almost all of my tunes. I highly recommend this one. If not, the owl bear or the tiger. Those two are pretty good too. And then for AoE, I use this as my power because it not only does it increase the DPS's damage, tanks, resistance, and also healers that go on healing, plus it also does tons of damage for AoE, so I like that. So buffs the group and does a lot of damage for AoE. And for me, since my stats are all orange, I don't really need more stats, so I just use this to improve my movement speed and get a little bit more combat advantage. As you can see, everything's orange other than accuracy. Like I said, I like to have some speed, so that's why I got the one. That's why I picked this one, because it gives me 3% more speed and some combat advantage, which makes my combat advantage orange. Here's my stable, so here's what I use. I'm just going to highlight them. This is the stats it gives me. You can see the names. But like I always said, it depends on your build. You might need something different, so you might not need the same insignia as I have. These are the ones I use. The stats on them. But yeah, you always gotta keep that in mind. Just because what I use works for me doesn't mean it always works for you. So it always depends on what you got. So here's my collars. I don't really bother upgrading these very much because it's not really worth it since they cost so much. Oh yeah, and I forgot to show you my artifacts. Of course, as for the set, I'm using the journals. And of course, you don't have to use the journals. You can always put whatever artifact you need that has the stats that you need. And then also, if you don't know how to get these pieces that are these dragon hunt pieces, which are these 4 right here, they come from dragon hunts, which you gotta do like ancient dragon hunts, which comes from the Dragon Slayer campaign. And you have a dragon hunt store, and you go to ancient dragons, and this is where you get all the gear from. So you gotta do lots of dragons. I mean, it's gonna be a grind, but it's a fun grind. I enjoyed it because you have to get to a certain rank to be able to get. Like, if you want a chest piece, you gotta be a rank 100, for example. And I think for boots, no, those don't have, but let's see. I know something takes like 50 or something like that. Yeah, I think you gotta get rank 70 for some pieces, and chest pieces are 100. And I think there's another piece that's like 50. So, you definitely gotta run a lot of dragon hunts. But they're fun. And you get some cool gear for it. Oh yeah, and I should show you what modifiers I use. I got recharge speed, and I did that to increase my critical strike. And then I use enhanced heavy slash, since I use that a lot. It hits extremely hard. Well, I think that was about it. Yeah, I think that was about it. So I'll probably maybe make a video, if you guys want, of showing like a rotation of what I do for my fighter and AoE. Yeah, because the rotations are much more important in single target. But there's also a rotation for AoE. Okay, so that'll be it. So thank you. I hope you guys like my build. I worked pretty hard on this fighter, and he does pretty good damage. I mean, he does lots of damage. And I'm enjoying the fighter a lot. And I think you guys, if you don't know what DPS to be, and you like plate armor classes, the fighter's the way to go. It's really fun. And plus, you can also play as a tank when you want to tank, and then also DPS when you want to DPS. That's why I like the fighter a lot. Well, hope you guys liked it. Thank you guys.